At 12 o'clock, we have Notre Dame, who's 4-3. Trailing number 16, Syracuse at 6-1. Syracuse favored by 2.5 points on ABC. Drew Pine for Notre Dame has gone 93-146, thrown for 1,047 yards, 12 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Audric Estime has had 79 carries for 435 yards and 6 touchdowns. And Michael Mayer, I hardly know her, has had 44 catches for 526 yards and 6 touchdowns. Garrett Schrader, I hardly know her, for Syracuse has gone 124-178, thrown for 1,601 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Sean Tucker, I hardly know her, has had 129 carries for 698 yards and 6 touchdowns. And Oren Gadsden II has had 37 catches, 593 yards, and 5 touchdowns. Notre Dame leads the series 7-3 all-time. Last 3 games have gone to Notre Dame from 2014 to 2020. Last time Syracuse won was in 2008, and last time they won at home was in 2003. So it's been a while. To be fair, these teams don't play every year. Both these teams are coming off very different weekends, right? Notre Dame got a much-needed victory against UNLV, right? Like, that was a game that just, like, Notre Dame had to have. They were coming off before that a loss to Stanford, and it just was not looking good for the Fighting Irish, and they finally get a big win against the Rebels. It's just still not a good football team, but at least... Honestly, Notre Dame's confusing. I do think it's a somewhat decent football team. This is a football team, if things are going right, they're going right. And you can beat really good football teams if you're Notre Dame. You have the talent there. But when the things are going wrong, man, do they go wrong. It's just, wow. There's just so many things going wrong for you. I mean, you can go back to watch the Marshall loss. You can go back to watch the Stanford loss. It's just when things are going poorly, things are going very poorly for your football team. On the other hand, you have Syracuse. Syracuse is coming off a heartbreaking loss. A game they could have had. A game that was robbed of them by the refs. Sorry, I'm going to say it, Clemson fans. That was a rob job against Syracuse. Now, Syracuse made some mistakes down the stretch. You can't have Sean Tucker, your star back, I think only get 5 carries in the entire game. That can't happen. He is one of the reasons why you've been winning so much. But the fact is, down the stretch, Clemson got a bogus roughing the passer penalty when the guy was still in bounds, and when the guy shoved him out of bounds, giving a first down on what would have been a 4th and more than 10 at midfield. Another penalty that was pretty awful was the unnecessary, unsportsmanlike conduct when the Syracuse player touched the Clemson's quarterback's helmet when he was down on the ground. It's not even a penalty. It was not. When the Syracuse quarterback was actually shoved when he was out of bounds, that not being called, this all leads me to think that was a bad ref job. That was a job. Syracuse got jobbed because they wanted Clemson to stay undefeated in Death Valley. Now, they made mistakes down the stretch, obviously. Syracuse had a chance to win it in regulation. When they were driving down the football field, Garrett Schrader made a pretty bad mistake. Doesn't change the fact that the refs really hosed them. In the 3rd and 4th quarter, in must-have drives, Clemson was getting penalties that no other football team not named Alabama or Ohio State would get. And Clemson has joined the Elite 3 in getting penalties to bail them out of football games. It happens against Alabama. I mean, the refs really wanted them to win against Texas. They really wanted them to win against A&M. So they didn't call penalties. I'll add Georgia, because Georgia had a very similar thing happen to them in the Mizzou game. Penalties that would have been called on any other football team, pass interference, weren't called. A holding, weren't called for Georgia. And for Mizzou, nothing they could do was not a penalty. So, Clemson has joined that elite tier of teams that will get penalties just for being Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, or Alabama. But the Cuse is in a must-win game. Like, this is an elimination game for the Cuse. And Notre Dame could knock them out. I mean, Notre Dame plays Clemson next week. They have the talent there. I just don't think they're going to be able to put it together. I don't think they're a good enough football team. Give me the Cuse to win and cover at home.